Ladies and gentlemen, it is your boy, Uhpurpose, here, back at it again with some more videos. Today we're going to be watching Whole Life Caused the VTuber Boom. You know how VTubers randomly came in about, you know the classics in general. Well, they come from basically being inside Japan and becoming an idol, but we're making that into making animal characters in general, and let's turn that into a VTuber. So, without further ado, let's watch how it all got started and caused the boom. The big boom.
2020 was what many call the golden era of VTubers. While it was a time rife with countless yabs and oopsies from literally every single VTuber agency, it was also a time when VTubing skyrocketed in popularity. It was called the VTuber boom. And while I talked about it briefly in many of my videos, I've yet to actually explain what caused the VTuber boom in the first place and what factors played into making these anime girls invade every facet of streaming and weeb culture throughout the world. And now, I'm about to tell you. So sit the fuck down, let's do some history. There's an odd nostalgia to be found by many people who found VTubers back in 2020. Well, now, some of those fans have settled in with their Oshis in either Nijisanji, VShojo, smaller VTuber agencies and indies. Most people's gateway into the industry at this time was none other than Hololive, which is why the points I'll be talking about actually revolve around them more so than everyone else. It's actually odd too because conceptually, Hololive was always an underdog, the niche agency with an idol twist. It really wasn't supposed to be anything revolutionary, especially considering that most VTubers before them already partook in idol-related activities like having their own concerts, song covers, or having similar cultures. Yet despite that, they've caused the VTuber boom and even somewhat mainstreamized idol culture in literally every facet of VTubing, to a point where both
I actually did not know that they already they actually had whole ass VTubers technically already had constant stuff and was already selling out in general before it. I didn't know that's such a thing. The more you know. The more you know.
concepts are now actually homogenized. When you hear VTubing, idols are probably going to be the second or third thing you synonymize it with. So how did they do it? How did they cause the VTuber boom of 2020 and kickstart the golden era of VTubers?
I think about the first person I think of is like AI.
The first reason for the VTuber boom are fanworks, and they include clippers and the shit ton of dead animators that got out of the grave. See, the thing about Hololive at the time was that they somehow had the most dedicated clippers. That's not to say that every other VTuber and VTuber agency didn't have clippers too, but Hololive had more that actually translated their stuff into English. And the fact that Hololive had an idol direction also made those moments actually stand out better, since the most popular clips were the stuff with them doing things that were shocking and very un-idol-like. A random Japanese woman saying the N-word and shouting "stay home" while committing mass murder is very un-idol-like. A Japanese woman pissing into a mug and making people drink it is very un-idol-like. Someone selling drugs and making commercials out of it and telling their managers to fuck off is very un-idol-like. Weirdly enough, the fact that they had a culture that discouraged them to do particular things made it so that when they did those things, it was much more hilarious and clippable. This was the advantage that Hololive had compared to everyone.
Bruh, what the hell?
Culture around them made it a better hook for many people. Now, this isn't me saying that these restrictive tendencies that the idol culture has is a good thing. It's just me saying that it makes people stand out when they do things that break those cultures regardless, compared to someone doing something funny that they are already allowed to do. That being said, the fact that Hololive clips and fan content were more easily accessible and prevalent made it so that they are the main reasons why the VTuber boom of 2020 happened. Animators also played their part. People that were inactive for a long time went back into creating dorky animations once they got into VTubers. And these were so high quality and entertaining, they were the gateway for other people too. Legendary clips became footnotes in VTuber history, and certain phrases became memes that appealed to everyone in the English community. And honestly, what's a better way to appeal to the international fans than through memes?
The algorithm. Oh, see, the algorithm is too powerful. Well, plus you have most people doing clips, so spread
COVID-19 fucked
like
up
wildfire.
the world throughout 2020, forcing people to sit at their homes for most hours of the day and rely on the internet for both entertainment and professional purposes. And while smaller businesses tanked and got gutted, big tech companies skyrocketed. Netflix, Twitch, YouTube. These
Ah,
had significant inclines. Certain algorithms shifted and fluctuated, until eventually, it found a HoloLive clip that was getting really high engagement from a particular sect in the internet. Then the YouTube algorithm started sharing those clips with many people and received the positive response it
said
needed to promote
bombasted.
them widely. In the end, what
Bombasted.
happened was YouTube and the Vtuber algorithm's wet dream. The fact that clips were also translated into English also helped push it to a global audience. Earlier, HoloLive also had a collab with Azure Lane, which I've said kickstarted HoloLive's popularity in certain weeb circles, and made it so that they were already familiar to many people, be it in Japan, China, and in English-speaking fan bases all over the world. The Chinese side of the internet also helped, as before the Coco Yab happened, a few significant promoters of EN translated content were managed by Chinese fan bases.
There's a way I is the only one I know.
Perfect storm worldwide where VTuber and fanworks circulated and invaded many people's recommendations. Once someone clicked on a VTuber clip, the algorithm showed them more. It was an endless cycle where everybody had a great difficulty escaping from. Thus, why it's called the VTuber rabbit hole.
Myth. What? I don't get a clue what this.
As I was writing this video, I originally wrote that HoloLive EN was the main reason for the VTuber boom of 2020. And in a few ways, that's definitely true. Myth came at the perfect time when the EN fanbase was starting to peak and when the demand for EN VTubers was starting to get loud. While EN VTubers existed way before Myth, like Melody, Nyanners, and even Sundaria, it was their groundbreaking debuts and massive collective success that told the world that VTubers are here to stay. But then I thought, it's not actually the Myth members themselves that's the reason. It was the English culture that was growing in HoloLive. I've said this before, but HoloLive was really the only VTuber agency in the world that could have started the international VTubing scene. If literally any other VTuber company started an English branch first, they wouldn't be even remotely popular or explosive as Myth was, because they didn't have a significant English fanbase and culture. So, with that in mind, the real reason EN VTubing got mainstream wasn't because of Myth. Myth was just the one that kicked it off and expanded it to new heights. So it got me thinking.
Personal bias, but I just think it was just due to, like, one, they already had enough of a base of people that already watched them that was already technically somewhat already speaking English already. So when they had English VTubers, it kind of just became a smooth transition. Maybe that's just me thinking with a big brain, just like, or it could just be being small brain thinking like that's just. You kind of have people already changing the clips from Japan to English, so when you have clippers doing that, you have this audience of English speakers now, and they exactly don't understand Japanese all the way, but it is what it is. So when you have the English audience where you pull up straight for, oh, this is going to be English this time, just English. It's kind of easy, smooth transitioning, just become, an audience already. What do I do with this set thing? I use it. Because like a big brain just hit and just use that multiple audience.
What even started this English culture in HoloLive? What cultivated it? Something made the foreign fans stay. Something exemplified the appeal of HoloLive to English viewers.
Oh yeah, I forgot anime.
Reason to stay, catered to them. Something set the prelude and laid out the carpet for Myth to take over the world. Something was responsible for the EN VTubing scene in HoloLive. And then I realized it. It's not actually something, it was someone. Coco is the bigger reason that Holo EN exists, and by extension, the mainstream EN VTuber industry, as she was the one that introduced the idea to CoverCorp in the first place, even before the EN fanbase got as big as it did. She was the one that cultivated the EN fanbase and catered to them with her memes and understanding of Western humor. As someone that represented the appeal of HoloLive in the first place, Coco was at the center of the English VTuber culture. I know it's annoying that I sound like a broken clock for how many times I've sucked Coco's cock. Cock. So let's move on. Without any of these aspects of 2020 coming at the right place at the right time, the VTuber boom wouldn't have happened. VTubing would have only been a phenomenon exclusive to Japan and China, and while I think it would have found its way to the West eventually, and perhaps in a different way, I honestly wouldn't prefer a VTuber boom that happened aside from this. All of these factors led to the popularization of a brand new genre of streaming and entertainment in the Western side of the internet. And with such a fresh and novel concept up and out there, people couldn't help but be curious about the trend and accidentally fell down the hole. So yeah, This was the golden age of VTubers to many people. The time when the VTuber boom happened, the time when the honeymoon period was at its peak. And while many miniature booms have happened since then, like Gloxium, Kobo, and Salome's entry, we haven't really seen something like this happen since. People think the industry is stagnating now, but that's not really the case. After every boom, they always drop down after the hype is over. Stabilizing is the proper word for what's happening in the VTuber industry. It's still growing, but in a relatively slower pace than before. There will be more miniature booms in the future, but I don't think there will ever be
Many
one that was
booms.
as big and impactful as the boom of the golden era.
Oh boy. Eh. Okay, something I am surprised he didn't bring up was just like due to there being like an anime English anime based in general. Do you not know that there's like people that outside the, like inside the US just loves anime in general, so it's like and they speak English and it's so pretty clear we could pull off all the things from the English with all people that like anime in general. So it makes me pull those people also. The big boom, I would say, mini booms, I guess. When stabilizing stuff, yeah, happens to every single culture. When something's like fresh and brand new, it's like boom, everyone. Oh, it's exciting, it's new, it's thrilling. After a while, you kind of get used to it, so it starts becoming more mellow and just like kind of get used to seeing it out day-to-day life. So it starts being as flashy to you or it's enticing. Then you start becoming like, oh, I like this. It's just pretty cool. So you have enough people just like, okay, yes, we all like this deal. We enjoy it. A whole rush of people stop playing as much, watching as much, whatever culture it is, basically, at this point. And they kind of just do number one. The audience helps boost it a little bit just so people start watching it. Just enough people will start be enticed and actually enjoy the content, keep watching. And that's how the audience gets slowly but surely bigger. Or, as he said, mini booms! But I hope everyone had a nice and fun time with this video. I will see you all next time. Bye.